My name is James OReilly. I was one of the principal attorneys for the Cree Nation in regard to the James Bay and Northern Quebec Agreement, but before that, in regard to the court proceedings against the James Bay project before Justice Maluf. I want to pay special tribute today to Grand Chief Billy Diamond. It's been 10 years since he died, and at the same time pay tribute to all the Cree leaders in the 1970s who had the vision to preserve their way of life, but also to adapt when circumstances changed fairly dramatically. I think most people realize that the James Bay Northern Quebec Agreement was not part of a land claim settlement that the Crees had envisaged. They were working with the Indians of Quebec Association at the time. The Indians of Quebec Association wanted to have their rights recognized over all of Quebec, but for the Crees, the battle was one of survival to make sure that they could continue with their own way of life. So that in very many respects, what was happening was the preservation of Cree society. So many Crees were involved under the great leadership of Billy Diamond and, of course, people like Philippa Washish as well, and obviously Chief Robert Kanatawa. The many Cree leaders came to Montreal for the court proceedings and testified, and they impressed greatly Justice Maluf. So there was a landmark victory against this huge James Bay project, which didn't last long insofar as the injunction was concerned, but which made the governments realize that the Crees had rights which had to be respected. When we come to the James Bay and Northern Quebec Agreement 45 years later, of course, there were very many firsts in the agreement, but there were also very many issues which made the James Bay and Northern Quebec Agreement an incomplete document. But in reality, it was a constitution for all of Northern Quebec, so it was very, very important. Now, when I look at the evolution since 1975, well, of course, there was the agreement in principle in 1974, which is very much based on the agreement, the Our Land, Our Demand made by the Crees. That led to the final agreement, but the final agreement was really a foundation. The vision of Grand Chief Billy Diamond and the other Cree leaders was that this was something that had to be built upon, that would evolve with time. It was not a once-in-a-lifetime event. It had to take into account these circumstances. And as you know, the Cree communities at that time, well, there were a number of the Cree communities which didn't even exist, such as Waswanipi, Nemiska, and Ujibugamo. And in the other Cree communities, there wasn't water and sewer systems which were operable. So when I look back at that and look at the fact that the JBNQA dealt with the government of Quebec as a party, and obviously Hydro-Quebec and the James Bay Energy Corporation, it was to make sure that as time evolved, their rights would be respected and they would have the wherewithal to prosper as a nation. And of course, from what little they were able to achieve in regard to things like self-government in the JBNQA, aside from getting out of the Indian Act, which was quite a feat, when you look back and say, well, over time the Crees were able to become recognized as a nation, so that they had a nation-to-nation relationship. This is a magnificent achievement Others, for instance, with the environmental and social impact regime, that too was a first. So many ways the Crees not only looked at their communities as something that had to be preserved and had to be taken care of, but also all of their traditional territory. So now the legacy has been developed over the last 45 years. Would have made the people like Billy Diamond very proud, and there was no pride of authorship. It was something that would be taken over by future generations of Crees, and they've done extremely well. Right now, the Crees have power. Thanks to their unity, they also are a force to be reckoned with by governments and by resource development corporations, and obviously they control enough funds so that they're able to prosper in different areas. Quite a remarkable set of achievements. So I pay my respects to the Cree Nation. I congratulate you on 45 years of work. I know you are not sleeping on your rights, as Bill Namagoose would say. This next generation still faces all the challenges to not only develop the heritage which is yours, but also to make it even better. So my best wishes to all of you. Thank you.